My folks, welcome again to another edition of URP Practical Talk. I'm your host, Pastor Wendell Jeffrey. Thanks for joining, both live and if you're watching us via the internet, we want to also thank you. If you would like to find us, those of you watching live, we are on www.urpguyana.com. Our Facebook page is URP Guyana. You can find us on those two places, our website or on our Facebook page. So we thank you for joining us here. Guyana is broken poor, or Guyanese are broken poor, and we wonder why. Why after 50 years, and we keep harping on this, after 50 years being the richest country in this hemisphere by way of the Caribbean, why are we broken poor? Well, it's for a number of reasons, and one is the administrative. We have always had an administrative problem, a political problem in this country. URP is hoping that we can bridge the gap and that we can appeal to persons who are not politically inclined or who are not of any political philosophy. You're not bought into any ideology that causes us to be separated. More particularly, you're not race and you're not concerned about race baiting, right? That's not your agenda. In the studio with me is a young, handsome guy, Guyanese by birth, but he has lived overseas. We have been running some programs with folks from the diaspora. And so in the studio with me is Vishwanauth Bandu, and he's going to talk a little about what he thinks of Guyana, having lived overseas and having come back to Guyana as a businessman, a successful businessman. So without any further ado, we're going to run into that. Let me welcome on set my brother. What's up, man?
Not much. Thank you for having me again.
Yes, we had you here before, and I said you're handsome, and I know you like when I say that.
I prefer girls say it, not you.
All right, I get you. You've been around. You've been coming, and you've seen Guyana, and you've subjecting yourself. Initially, what's your take? How you feel about Guyana on a scale of 1 to 10? What's your feeling?
Home is home.
Okay.
It's always good to be home. Looking at the problems that affect everyone in Guyana, I would say from a scale 1 to 10, we're a 10.
By the problems.
By the problems.
Okay. And what do you think, you're a businessman? So we're gonna spend this edition here talking particularly about the economy and how you think it can be helped. What's your take on the economy of Guyana? Are you satisfied with where we are economically?
It's a joke.
What do you mean?
The Guyanese economy is a joke. Because they are research and things we've been doing in the state. We are looking at 4 additional crops to the agricultural sector.
Okay.
Each one of those crops have the potential to surpass this country's entire GDP.
Okay, so I'm going to take this in pieces because I know the viewers are very excited to hear what you're talking about. You said that we have been looking. Who are the we who have been looking?
Well, we have many people back home, people from the diaspora and also non-Guyanese.
Okay.
Because we are looking at people across the board. Okay. This is not only a Guyanese problem. The problem here in Guyana is a human problem. And it affects the Caribbean country then. Because when you cannot provide here for them, the Guyanese flee to other places.
Okay.
You know, so it's not only a problem here in Guyana. This problem is being exported.
Wow.
You know,
that's deep.
So on these areas, we have to look at it. We have to look what we need to put in place. Now, there are a few things which you can do. You can put in place to strengthen your economy. Is either your government here is unwilling or just don't care. Or the other possibility is they're not educated enough. Because to go out there and to sit with a businessman, to talk with him, to negotiate with him, you know, you don't have the skill set in this country to do it because most of these guys don't go overseas. Right. They don't deal with the people overseas.
I want to, you said something and I'm engaging you. I want to tell you another thing that I saw, having lived here for the last 7 years or so. Mm. One of the problems that we have in Guyana is that nobody listens to you if you are not aligned to a political party. So you might say, and correctly so, that we don't have the skill sets, that we don't have the knowledge, that we don't have the desire. But what I find is that if you are not willing to say you are PPP, or you're not willing to say you are PNC publicly, they know your capabilities, but they will not bring you into the tent if you don't say that you are with them politically. You understand what I'm saying? So that is one of the other problems that I have realized having lived here as coming back from the diaspora over the years.
Before we go any further, I am proud to say I'm not a PPP nor a PNC. Okay. I'm very proud of being in the URP.
Beautiful.
Because the mindset of the URP is totally different from these guys. Because we are channeling not only people here, people in Canada, people in the state, the best and the brightest mind we have. Okay. Yeah, this is what you need to develop Guyana. You need the people with the skill and the mindset, not the corrupt people we have in government, in this and the past administration.
Okay, all right. I like when you get animated. It's good. Okay, so let's get back now. You said that you guys have a think tank, and that the think tank includes not only Guyanese, but what you said just now, bright minds,
professors, people, lawyers, doctors, so forth.
So let's look at some of the things that you guys have talked about. You mentioned the fact that if sugar isn't working, there are countries that have diversified the sugar industry into ethanol, and that they move away from fossil fuels is propelling persons to go into alternative kind of fuels, and ethanol is one of them. Talk a little about that.
Well, my take is, Dr. Bandu and I spoke on this. Okay. Yeah, if they're claiming that the sugar industry is losing about $40 billion a year, that's what they're claiming, you know. Now, instead of firing people and shutting down everything, you know, why not take that same $40 billion and set up an ethanol plant, right? Now you're creating jobs. We already have the infrastructure for sugarcane. You don't have to teach people to do this. People know that here. Right. You have a 40% unemployment rate. How much can we put back to work by expanding the growth of sugarcane? Okay. At the same time, you're creating employment. You're producing your own fuel. It will be at a lesser cost than gasoline. It's good for the environment, clean energy.
It can be exported. Right?
We can export it, and then you will get a credit from the United Nations for going green.
Beautiful. You know,
it's a win-win situation all the way around on this.
On that, I want to say we can talk a little more. Let me tell you what I'm hearing. The folks are trying to diversify the sugar cane into rice, and they want to go into tilapia, into aqua farming. And so on. But what the persons who have been in sugar all these many years are saying, all we know about is sugar.
Exactly.
So if you go radically to diversify the sugar industry, you're gonna put a whole set of people on the breadline. So I'm agreeing with you. If we can't make the money in sugar, let's continue to plant cane that we've got 2,000 people, how much ever people who are associated directly with the cane industry, and another how much ever thousand who benefit from it. Let's stay with cane, but just let's diversify what the cane is used for.
Exactly.
You know? So I like that concept. and then it's the same vein that you're working on.
Right.
Now, there's the big talk about hemp, and we know, I'm going to let you talk a little about it. What's your take on that, on the hemp industry, given the research that you guys have done?
Well, my dad, which is Dr. Bandu, when he first brought it to our attention, we got all our people on it. And we start doing research and things like this because first we need to understand what we're dealing with.
Okay.
Not like some of these guys you have, they go and build a hotel for $1 billion, and then 2 years later you got to put another $1 billion into it, you know. So we thought about it. We started doing some research, talking to people from the various industry. What we have found is that hemp, it's one of the most productive cash crop you have out there because it's a 3-month duration.
Okay, from seed to harvest.
Right, and every part on the plant can be used. Now, there are 4 states currently that I know of in the United States that's doing this. And within those 4 states, in the first year was 540 million US dollars. Okay. The last I looked, for the current year, or the fiscal year now, it surpassed that by $160 million more.
Wow.
You know, so you can see, even in the United States, all the laws in the world, you know, even they're doing it. What's wrong with our government? Are they blind? Don't they understand business? Something is wrong here.
Okay, now we began with ethanol. Now we on to hemp. So I want you to take it guardedly. I said to you just now that it is not necessarily that they are blind. It's not necessarily that they are dumb. It's that they are career politicians. And so when you come to them with hemp, and you are not one of them. You understand what's happening? It's not that they don't see the benefits. It's just that you are not one of them. Okay. So let's go through these things, and let's say that were the people to choose a URP administration, were they to select us, these are the things that we would do, or if we were to get seats in parliament, these are legislations that we would end. You understand what I'm saying? So what we're doing is we're moving away from the phrase.
I'll stop you there for 1 second.
Go ahead.
It's not if we get seats in parliament. We are going to have seats in parliament,
good.
And they better be very careful because we might take the presidency too.
All right, good. So you get the understanding of what I'm saying. You can take a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink. Don't continue. Let's move away from trying to beat a dead horse. So we know. We began. One of the things you told me, one of the things you said just now, as you began your submission, is that any one of the things that you will list would surpass our GDP, our current GDP, can be used.
Yeah,
right?
have the possibility to surpass it.
So we look at hemp, we look at ethanol,
That's
which can be exported.
Right.
Correct. Now we're looking at hemp. Now I have done my research on hemp.
Okay.
I want you, though, you the guest. Tell me a little about the concern that somebody might have that they say to you, man, Vishwanauth, you coming with hemp, the Rasta man gonna smoke and get high. Talk a little about what might be some of the reservations that an objective person might have as it pertains to the hemp industry.
Well, the first thing, people need to educate themselves because the THC, I believe.
THC.
Right. In hemp, this is what gets you high.
Correct.
Right? Is less than 1%.
0.03%.
There you go. Now that means a man will have to sit down here with about 6 pounds to smoke to get high.
Okay.
So I don't know if the guy ain't got nothing else on his hand to do but sit there with 6 pounds or something.
Right.
So these are not concerned. Once they can, and this I think the government should jump on it. And the reason the government should jump on it, because it will bring money into the country. Okay. The government will earn revenue from that. Sure. You know, and what they should do is educate the people about it. You know, but I don't know. I'm lost for words when I come to your government here. I don't know what else to say.
So before we move from hemp, talk a little about the hemp products. What are some of the things a person is listening to you? Somebody wants to vote for the URP, they want to support, they like the idea, but they're hearing about hemp, but all they know is that hemp is something that can be smoked. What are the benefits, the medicinal benefits, the byproducts? Share some with us.
You could do a lot of things with it. There's about 25,000 products you can make out of hemp.
Okay. List some for us.
And you can oil, paper, pens,
correct,
pencils,
correct.
Almost anything you can think about, you can use hemp for it. And it's one of the strongest soft fiber on the planet.
Correct. Correct.
You know, there are various things you can do.
Let me help you. They're making the interior of the cars, the dashboards, all those things. They make that with hemp.
Yeah.
They make hemp oil. You can drink it, or you can use it on your body. It's good for joint pains and stuff like that. So yeah, like you said, there are many things. What the people are doing, the reason you quote some figures there in the States,
that's just
the States.
In the States.
Canada is big on it. They're doing it in Suriname now.
China,
big on it.
Australia.
China, exactly. Yeah. So hemp is a big thing. And the thing about, let's go back to North America. In Canada and in the United States, they have about 4 to 6 months of the year that if they're planting it outdoors, they can't plant it because of the weather.
Because of the
Guyana can plant it all year round, and so that's a benefit to us. Yeah. All right, so we could see that.
When they would have 2 crops, we will have 4.
Correct, correct. Now let's talk a little about aloe vera, because I know that that's another thing that we are saying. I know that I've lived in Barbados for a while, and that's one of the things that Barbados is involved in, the aloe vera, because again, for the medicinal propensities of aloe vera. Talk a little about that.
Well, there are many different types of aloe.
Correct.
There are hundreds of species.
Correct.
But the one we are concentrating on is aloe barbandesi mill. This is a commercial use. You know, we have the land here. You have the right type of soil. You have the weather. These plants live up to 150 years. No natural enemy except for frost. You know? Now, aloe vera is in almost anything you can think about. Any type of medicine, skincare product, cosmetic industry, health food industry, you know, and these industries are not small.
Correct.
In the United States, the cosmetic industry is 126 billion. Hear me, billion.
U.S.
U.S.
Correct. Correct.
In the health food industry and pharmaceutical, you're talking an estimate of 110 billion U.S. dollars. Now, buddy, you only need 1%
of that.
1%
of that market.
You know,
of that market.
Exactly.
And you know, when people hear agriculture, and I've been talking to some folks, the USAID, the UK aid. Some guys came in from the United Kingdom, and they got some funds from the UK to help with the diversification of agriculture in Guyana. And agriculture is not as tedious as it used to be. These guys have engineered agriculture now to where the nutrients are being dripped right to the roots of the plants. It's solar, so the pumps work with solar energy, and it's irrigated by the pumps from the solar.
Right.
The nutrients that the plant needs is pumped right to the roots of the plant. They cover the ground so that it reduces the weeding and stuff like that. So agriculture is not like back in the day when you had to plow up with a fork and be out there all day and stuff. So what I'm saying, I'm agreeing with you that we can use these things, and we have the mechanisms and the technologies that will now help us to catapult us to a new level. So again, I am glad that you're on. We have another area here we can talk about just now. But before we do that, I want you to introduce yourself some more, because people hearing you and they're hearing your nice accent and stuff like that. But tell us a little about yourself. You're Guyanese born. Talk a little about yourself.
I was born in Windsor Forest, and I left here when I was very young. Went to the state. I spent most of my life there, was educated there. So at a young age, like I said in the last program, with my father, I was involved in many different type of business. My dad had all different kind of business. Okay. The first newspaper, Expo Caribbean Away, was my dad. Okay. We started a shipping company the same time with La Parkin. Okay. The first Caribbean nightclub was my dad.
Wow.
A few furniture stores, and not only in business, but on the religious front as well, because my dad is Aryan, I'm Aryan.
Okay. Samaj.
Okay. Arya Samaj, and we've been heavily involved in those type of things. My dad was the president there, and then he was the tri-state. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot of things. So by growing up, you have interact with all different facets, so you know how to deal with certain things in life.
So you lived overseas. You're accomplished businessman. You're comfortable. What is the magnet? What is pulling you back to Guyana? We now in 2017. I mean, what is pulling you back? Why at this time, and what is the catalyst for you wanting to get involved? What's happening?
Well, first, it's let's get this straight. It's because of my dad.
Okay.
That was the first reason.
Okay. Because of what he does.
Yes.
Okay.
The second thing was, it's the problems that the country face here, and it seemed like nobody have a grip on anything. When my dad come back and he talk and things like, we were driving up to Schenectady, and he get quiet in the car, and I asking him like, why are you so quiet? You okay? He looked out the window and he said, God, when my country would be like this. Simple things like this turn screws in your head. At one time, like I touched on the last time, we were very upset with my father. He left me, my brother, my sister back in New York, and he came back here. And we were very upset. But something? As you get older, you start thinking, and then you start to understand a simple concept. The needs of the many outweigh the need of one.
Wow.
And I start living my life by that concept.
Okay.
So these are the reasons for me to get involved with my father. And as long as I breathe, I will stand by the URP, come hell or high water.
Okay. Now, you said something the last time, and as a pastor, it resonated with me. You said that you're living your life and your involvement now is not political. Your involvement is purpose. And you talked about the fact that when you get in front of the Creator, I like how you said it. You said when you get in front of the Creator will ask you, what have you done with your life? Talk a little about that, because that really resonated with me when you said it.
Well, for me, anything I do, I think about what I'm going to do. And then whether it's right or wrong, or it seems to be right or wrong based on people's perception. I always ask myself a question. And that question is, when I'm finally dead, if there is a God and I'm standing in front of him, and he asks me, what have you done with the life I've given? At least I can say, I did the very best I could. At least that's what I can say.
And what I'm hearing you say is that your sacrificial desires to get involved in helping the Guyanese people weighs heavily into that purpose. That's what I'm hearing. I'm trying to make the connection. You're saying that for you to come back to Guyana and to lead in the development of Guyana, getting people out of poverty, getting guys off of drugs and getting, and that's a part of the purpose.
Well, I'll tell you something, Pastor. My father always told me, although you're born Aryan and you don't see religion too much anymore, but my dad always told me, the greatest religion there is serving your fellow mankind.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So that's what I would say.
And you see your ability to assist Guyanese as a part of that service. That's what I'm hearing you say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You cannot have one without the other.
Okay. Beautiful.
You know?
Now, let's talk. You talk about soya as
Soy.
another potential crop. So let's get back to business. You're a businessman. Talk a little about the soya bean and how, if Guyana was to get into that, it can also help our GDP.
Well, I'm just going to give you some figures.
Okay.
Right across the border in Brazil, they're exporting 24 to 28 billion. Billion US dollar in soy. Again, our country, you're talking about 83,000 square mile here. We populate less than 2% of our country. You know, we have the land. You have everything here. You just need the right policy to be put into place to get these things to the foreign market. If you don't have, and you need things such as an equivalent to the FDA, that they can inspect these things so these things can be cleared to send in, whether to the United States, Canada, England, wherever. These are the buyers. We are the sellers. If we cannot even clear the thing at our own port, what's the point? You can tell the farmer to go and farm and plant these things. Under URP administration, all of these things we will put in place.
Okay.
Because this is how you develop your country. You know, like I said last, Guyana have serious problem. We need serious people to deal with these problems. And I don't think the PPP, the PNC, or the APNU, or whatever they're calling themselves these days, they don't have serious people to deal with these things. Instead, what I have seen, it seemed like the PPP have squeezed the people into a rock, you know?
Okay.
And now you got the PNC is squeezing blood out of the rock. This is how I view it. Because you cannot tell me 40% of our country unemployed, yet you're going to implement all these taxes and VAT and all these things. What are you trying to do to the people? Is this love? Is this care? You know, at the same time raising their own salary. So who do they care about? They care about their damn self. That's who they care about. They care about filling their pocket at the people's expense. Come election time, they're going to run to these people and try to fool them. Because that's what they've been doing. Because whatever they promise, have it happen. You know? So, for me personally, and I'm going to say this, your government, not mine. I have no respect for anyone in government who cannot take care of their country and the people within the country. Far as I'm concerned, you have betrayed your country. That's the way I see it. And this go for the PPP, the PNC, and the APNUs of the world. This is the way I see it. You know? Now, I know some people might say you shouldn't be talking like that. But you know something? Just like my father have said before, I am not afraid of anything. You die, one death. It's that simple.
Folks, we are out of time. I allow Vishnu not to vent because he's not the only person doing that. Many of you who are sitting there, you're probably cheering on because you feel the same way. You feel betrayed. You feel lost in your own country. We're completely out of time, but thanks for joining us. Visit us on the World Wide Web, www.urp.com, or on our Facebook page, URP Guyana. Thanks for joining us. Stay tuned. Visit us again. Same time, same station next week. God bless you real good. Peace out. Bye-bye.